Hello everyone, and welcome to Aviation Insider's YouTube channel. I'm Olivia, and today I'm joined by Adrian Reid from FPT UK. The aim of this video is just to find out a bit about the company. It's going to be about a 10 to 15 minute interview, so we're going to get started right away. So Adrian, tell us about your company and about yourself and what UPRT is in general.
Of course, yeah. Hi, good morning, Olivia. So FPT UK, FPT stands for Flight Performance Training. That's the name of the company. And the company was incorporated and set up at the end of 2017. We set up to take advantage of the requirement to carry out upset prevention and recovery training, which has been mandated recently to be included within basic pilot training. So what is UPRT? Everybody seems to know a little bit about UPRT, but it's actually quite a complex subject. So UPRT stands for Upset Prevention and Recovery Training, prevention being the key word really in all of that. The reason UPRT was set up was because of the legislators, and when they look at accidents, when they look at incidents, they're constantly reviewing what is happening in the world of commercial aviation. And unfortunately, something called loss of control in flight became the leading cause of fatalities. The regulators obviously look at this, they look at how they could turn around, and obviously they look at how they can mitigate that. So loss of control in flight is exactly what it says. It's an unintended divergence from the flight path. That's what we call a loss of control in flight. As a result of this, the authorities turned around and they mandated training in simulators for upset prevention and recovery training. It was actually a requirement to be a reoccurring form of training that you would have. The problem in this is that in the simulator, whilst it's a great environment to learn, doesn't fully replicate what happens in the aeroplane. And by that, I mean in the aeroplane, you feel the G-forces, you feel the acceleration. And of course, in an aeroplane as well, you have the fear factor. You know, you have this startle factor. You have this element where you're feeling scared or nervous. And of course, in a simulator, although you might be a little bit apprehensive and anxious, you still remember that you're securely bolted to a floor in a car park, perhaps in Crawley, West Sussex, and you're not about to drop out of the sky. So that really is why UPRT was mandated.
So what sort of training is actually involved in UPRT? What sort of manoeuvres do you do?
First important thing is to remember, this is not an aerobatics course. This is not about us wearing flight suits, taking you up, showing you how good we are at doing aerobatics. The whole course ideally should be completed within the conventional flight envelope of a commercial aeroplane. So that is within the +2.5 -1 G environment that we actually have. So it's a human factors course. We focus on prevention. So through flight performance training, we teach you all about prevention. And then obviously from prevention, we look at recovery and then teach you about recovery should you find yourself in one of these upsets that we have.
Okay, so what kind of different courses do you offer? Do you only offer one type of UPRT, or are there several different types that you offer at FPT?
So within flight performance training, we have one advanced UPRT course that we actually offer. So if you are a student who's coming to us, if you are a layman coming off the street and you wanted to do your advanced UPRT course, then we offer the standard advanced UPRT course, which is available to customers. That course comprises 8 hours of ground school and 4 flights. That is in excess of the regulatory minimum, which is 5 hours ground school and 3 hours of flight training. And we do that because we're extremely sensitive, as I'll talk to you about the students' needs in a moment. It's important that we have a full understanding of the process and the full understanding of the learning process, and the student feels completely comfortable in the aeroplane. We also do UPRT training for customers who go to integrated schools. So we do have a business tie-up with FTA Global, who are based down here at Shoreham. So if you go and do your integrated course with FTA Global, then you would come to us to do your advanced UPRT course.
Right. Oh, that I didn't know that. That's interesting. So as you touched on it briefly, but what do you say to people who are perhaps a bit anxious about their UPRT? Because I know that there certainly are some people out there who don't want to necessarily be upside down in an aircraft.
Of course, yeah, and understandably so, very, very much so. There are lots of videos on YouTube of people doing UPRT courses where you see people doing loops and 4-point rolls and all this sort of stuff, and that is not the syllabus. That's not what UPRT is all about. As I said, it's all about building blocks, and the way flight performance training deal with this is about the building blocks for the student. It's about building confidence. Now, bear in mind that ideally, the training is completed within the flight envelope of a commercial aircraft, that being plus 2.5G, minus 1G. And we take the students slowly and sympathetically through the manoeuvres, through the syllabus, and at all times, obviously, student comfort is of prime importance. From a personal point of view, teaching the course, I think students come out of this and they generally feel that they've experienced something that they've gained a great deal from. In terms of aircraft handling, in terms of situational awareness and what they can do. Notwithstanding the fact, if students do enjoy it and they want to see a loop or a roll, of course we can demonstrate that to them. But as I said, primarily this is not an aerobatics course, it's a human factors course, and it's important to remember that. So the anxiety that people feel when they start is entirely understandable. And the building blocks within the course are such that we can get you through the course, show you the full syllabus, without necessarily turning an airplane completely upside down.
Amazing. I know for sure for me, UPRT was probably one of my favourite parts of training. So I'm sure you get a lot of people that absolutely love it. So it's not every day that somebody's anxious.
I think the feedback has been fantastic. You know, people are coming in, people are saying this is great because, especially if you do an integrated course, you'll know this from experience, Olivia, that within the integrated course, your syllabus is so firmly set. You know, you go up, you have your lesson plan, you fly your lesson plan, and the majority of flying is procedural, therefore you're under the hood or you're looking at the instruments. Actually, UPRT is a real opportunity to physically learn what an aeroplane is capable of and looking at the full flight envelope of an aeroplane. So, yeah, I'd say the majority of people, if not everybody, comes back and finds it an amazing experience.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely agree with that. So in general, kind of what would you say makes you stand out amongst your competitors that offer the similar product? Because I know there's a lot of people out there that do this UPRT. So what is it that you think makes FPT UK stand out?
Absolutely, thank you. I think from our point of view, myself as a director, my co-director, Tony Braxton, when we looked at setting up flight performance training, we were already TRIs, TREs, instructing and examining on commercial aircraft and teaching this in the simulator. So we had a background where we came at this as the end user. In other words, when you join the airline, Olivia, I'll be the person that does your type rating in the 737. So we know what the expected requirements are. That makes us sympathetic to the syllabus. From the very beginning, we wanted to set a very high standard so that the training that you receive when you're here would seamlessly integrate you with your APS MCC course and then ultimately into your type rating course. So using manufacturers' recommendations, looking at the settings that we have, and looking at the aircraft and the facilities we have. Within our experience of our instructors, all of us have been commercial instructors, whether that's training captains on business aviation, whether it's training captains in commercial aviation, and all bar one are currently flying commercially or business aircraft at the present moment in time. We do have the odd military pilot as well that come to join us because clearly they bring something to the party as well with their experience that they have. But it's a real cross-section and we're a very open and honest company. You know, we're very willing to listen to client feedback to develop the product further. So we really pride ourselves on what we can provide, the professionalism. And like I said, we are the end user. You know, we'll hold your hand the whole way through. So whether I teach you an upset in a Slingsby Firefly or whether I do it in a 737 or a 787, you know, we understand exactly what is required of that.
Right, so you've got a lot of experience behind you as a team. That's
Yes.
great. So did you say you fly the Slingsby? Is that the aircraft that you use?
Yeah, the aircraft of choice is Slingsby Firefly that we use, in common with the majority of other schools actually that are doing upset prevention and recovery training. The Firefly is a great airplane from the point of view that you have side-by-side seating for a start in the airplane, so you'll have a full instrument suite in front of you, and you can replicate using your left hand on the throttle, your right hand on the stick as you would do in a commercial airplane, or vice versa from either seat. So you have the ability to train left-hand seat pilots or right-hand seat pilots in the airplane, so it's very versatile. The airplane is fully aerobatic, has full inverted fuel and oil systems, so you're not rushing to demonstrate something because of the airplane limitations. that you have. And in fact, side-by-side seating as opposed to tandem seating is the preferred option of the authorities, because that replicates more clearly the environment that you're going to be operating in. Clearly, a Slingsby Firefly is never going to be a replicant of a 737 or an Airbus or something like that. However, with our experience as Boeing or Airbus pilots, we can point out the differences and similarities and kind of mold the two together, so you get an appreciation of what you could be potentially experiencing.
Yeah, definitely. That makes a lot of sense. So where did you say you were based?
We're based down at Brighton City Airport, or Shoreham, as people tended to know it from the old days. We're down on the south coast, and we are in hangout number 7 at Brighton City Airport.
That sounds great. And in terms of if anybody wants to come and do their UPRT with you, it's pretty simple just to come onto your website and see where's available and book a slot, I imagine.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, very, very much so. So we do work with a number of providers down here that we utilise. So either through the provider themselves, people are doing APS MCC courses. We have a tie-up, also we have a tie-up with flying schools, or you can approach us directly through the website and contact our operations team down here and book yourself onto a course. Absolutely. And of course on social media as well. You'll find us on all the social media platforms.
That's great. Thank you very much. I think that concludes our questions. So I appreciate you joining me today. Thank you very much. I think that's very helpful. Hopefully our audience found that useful. And if you want to find out any more information, just visit either aviationinsider.com. And what did you say the website was for FPT?
So it's fptuk.com.
Fantastic. Okay. Thank you very much.